There is a persistent illusion in enterprise IT. It's the belief that if your data is housed locally and physically locked down behind steel vault doors, it is automatically secure and compliant. But physical geography offers no protection against legal jurisdiction. The U.S. Cloud Act gives American authorities the right to demand access to data held by U.S. companies, regardless of where those servers sit. This diagram illustrates the problem. You can have a localized data center right in the middle of Europe. If the software provider is headquartered in the United States, the data flow simply bypasses local regulatory shields and routes directly back to U.S. jurisdiction. Digital sovereignty is entirely a jurisdictional metric. It is determined by whose laws govern the code operating inside the box, not where the box is bolted to the floor. Relying on foreign-owned hyperscalers to host sensitive information creates a dangerous liability. You are trading actual legal compliance for the mere appearance of it. The European Commission understands this vulnerability. Current legislation is actively attempting to establish guardrails to prevent external data exposure. But legislation is slow, and geopolitical tech wars are accelerating. Businesses using externally governed software platforms are increasingly caught in the crossfire of trade conflicts and foreign diplomatic pressure. Achieving true business stability requires abandoning least dependencies. Enterprises must transition to a self-owned, autonomous tech stack. This transition happens across three distinct architectural layers: the base infrastructure, the operational software, and the AI layer. Engineering structural independence at every single one of these layers is the only way to guarantee long-term strategic resilience. This wireframe represents the sovereign stack. We start at the foundation, the empty bottom tier. When you drop a generic hyperscaler in, you create a structural risk. An external tether creates a single point of failure, leaving you exposed to unilateral price hikes you cannot negotiate. Replacing this leased model with European-owned bare metal infrastructure eliminates that tether entirely. The Schwartz Group's cloud arm, StackIt, provides a concrete blueprint for this localized approach. Because it is privately held, StackIt's financial model removes external venture capital pressure. More importantly, it completely nullifies the reach of foreign jurisdiction. Competing at this layer requires massive physical capacity. StackIt is deploying 100,000 GPUs in Lubinau to match the operational scale of standard hyperscalers. Before any external enterprise client touches this infrastructure, it undergoes rigorous internal stress testing across the Schwartz Group's own global retail network. Owning and controlling this base tier dictates the legal reality for every single operation built on top of it. Once the foundation is secure, we move up to the second tier of the enterprise architecture: operational software. Proprietary SaaS platforms offer short-term setup convenience, but they extract a heavy toll in long-term strategic costs. Populating the middle tier with proprietary blocks fragments data. To integrate, data is forced out, routing through external servers. By replacing these with self-hosted open-source blocks, data flows shift, circulating entirely within your secure internal boundary. It never leaves. This architecture also gives you immediate financial leverage. You eliminate hostage-style licensing agreements and the burden of recurring per-user fees. Modular open-source software guarantees absolute control over your data routing while providing perfectly tailored interoperability. Finally, we arrive at the top and most volatile tier of the modern architecture: agentic AI and large language models. To function effectively, agentic AI requires deep, pervasive access to your systems, scanning everything from internal company documents to sensitive financial records. Relying on cloud-based LLMs introduces a specific, critical architectural vulnerability known as prompt injection. Large language models are designed to process text as statistical patterns. They cannot logically distinguish between an authorized system protocol and a malicious user command. The top tier shows a cloud LLM block. Manipulated inputs trick the AI into executing unauthorized actions, overriding internal protocols. The consequence is invisible data exfiltration. The LLM extracts sensitive files and transmits them out of the enterprise boundary, completely bypassing alarms. The required architectural solution is to stop relying on external APIs. You must deploy high-performance open-source models locally. Models like Mistral prove this is possible. a DSG-VO native AI matching proprietary performance while remaining self-hosted. Swapping in a localized model block places the brain of your operation safely behind the firewall. Malicious external inputs bounce off, while internal queries process securely. Deploying local intelligence is the only viable method to shut down AI data leakage while maintaining the speed of innovation. Let's compare these two enterprise models side by side. On the left is the standard leased stack, tethered by erratic data lines to external vendors. On the right, the sovereign stack operates as a unified, self-contained engine. The leased stack is structurally weak. It remains highly susceptible to sudden price hikes, legal data extraction, and cascading outages from external servers. The sovereign stack operates with extreme operational resilience, guaranteeing localized control and unified data governance. The financial realities are equally distinct. One model forces you to manage a growing list of recurring external liabilities. The other allows you to build and compound a strategic, owned asset. These architectural choices directly dictate the long-term viability and the overall valuation of the business itself. There is a misconception that digital sovereignty requires isolationism or a retreat from the global tech ecosystem. True sovereignty is the architectural prerequisite for competing securely on a global scale. In the age of agentic AI, IT architects and CTOs have a clear mandate. You must move away from reactive legal compliance checklists and focus entirely on proactive systems engineering. Digital sovereignty is not a political buzzword. It is a measurable, structural requirement for enterprise risk management and long-term business survival.